All right, guys, this is just a quick overview of the Big Lebowski. I finally did get this game. I was on the waiting list for 2 years, and I think I was just kept getting passed over somehow. My order lost as it went along. It was kind of ridiculous, but hey, I still got it. And I am going to say I'm happy with the game. I have taken the lockdown bar off and the glass so we could get a better look at the game. Because really that's what this is about. It's not about showing gameplay or anything like that, because everybody can see gameplay footage on the internet. But what you may not get to see is an actually really good representation of what the shots layout look like, because most of the time you're just seeing this flat, very 2D view of a game, as opposed to where you can really see what's happening. So taking us down to the playfield view, there is our this is our saucer shot. This is the next one. To the right of that is the orbit that comes around all the way to here, like this. And then of course, then we have the super steep ramp, which is the dude shot right next to it. And if you come up there, you see that little metal loop in the ramp right there. That is the diverter that raises up to let the ball go back into the back of the game to go to the subway to virtually lock one of your multi-balls. And of course, the virtual lock sends it down to this scoop and it ejects from there. Quick note, when I got my game, I was starting to get some inconsistent shots out of the scoop, so I put a piece of Velcro, which you can see right here, to allow for a consistent feed all the way down to my right flipper. Another thing that I didn't realize was how steep the Jesus shot was, the ramp. Look at that. It's really hard to ever see that. And even when you're playing the game with the glass on, it is so dark right there that it looks like the depth of that shot is way farther back. It is steep, but because it's actually closer than you think, it actually makes it up pretty easy as long as you get a clean shot. But that is a super narrow shot. I mean, that's a ball and a quarter width, or a ball and a half maybe width, which most of these shots are. This game is a whole lot harder to shoot than I was expecting, actually, being that it was modeled after a 90s Bally Williams style of game design or thought, whatever you want to call that. The interesting thing is, like, this Walter shot is very late on the flipper. And it is not directly intuitive, but eventually you start kind of getting the hang of it. And then the dude shot, man, that thing is Rattle City. But once you start kind of locating the shots, like any other game practice, you do start being able to make them. But because the game is requiring you to stack, all the characters up and whatnot, and then how hard it is to actually achieve that, because again, to start your modes, or not modes, but to start your multi-balls, you still have to shoot this saucer over here, and it's another one of those light shots off the tip of the right flipper, but it's also, you have to have kind of like hardly any momentum with the ball to kind of feed that in there. So it's a very intentional shooting game, if that makes a lot of sense. The randomness and just flipping it, you're just going to be bricking all over the stand-ups, and they're going to be coming straight back down and eating your lunch. However, the fun factor is still there, because every so often you do start lining everything up and getting it all rolling good. So that part's pretty amazing. Now, let's take a quick look at the lower play field. Of course, all we're seeing is the reflection of the Big Lebowski going on. There we go. Let's briefly, oh, there we go. This lower play field is great. Adds a lot to how the gameplay is. While you're playing it, the actual view of the lower play field is something more like how I have the camera set up right now. That's about all you can see. So you do kind of have to tuck a little bit if you're going to look at everything in there. But I don't know, it's not cumbersome, and you get really used to how it all flows, and you don't feel like an idiot bending down and looking in there. Interesting enough, though, I do think it's interesting how scarred up this top portion is already gotten with only like maybe 100 plays. I don't know, some buffing compound I'm sure will work really well with, you know, fixing that. But it's just a little nitpicky thing, but does not detract from the fact that this is an amazing game and it's high quality. You can just feel it. Now again, you may have heard complaints about the flippers and how they are. I mean, I can say I don't like them as well as I like a Bally William flipper. They're definitely not a, you know, knock your socks off, overpowered stern flipper. But the biggest thing is it's really hard to do the little trap a ball and barely flip the flipper to kind of give it a little pass, those little nudge passes. So what you're relying on is more like the dead flip, bounce passes, or the nudging the balls to go to one side or the other, more so than some of your other flipper skills. It takes a little time to get used to because you'll do a lot of kerfuffles with the flippers thinking that you've got it right, but you end up flipping bad. So let's take a look at the rest of this while we're going. Let's get another angled shot to the upper play field. You don't really see a lot of detail on other videos showing how the ramp around works, but you know, once it starts, you can see the gate. Once it gets up to that gate, then you're guaranteed it to fall through. And there's another VUC that's, you know, part of the system that's back here that's kicking the ball up. And I did have that kind of stick a little bit at one point, but not too bad. The only other things with this game, and I got it, again, I've only had it for a couple of days now, is the rollovers here. If you'll notice, and a lot of times in the videos that you see online, you can't tell, but these spell out mod. Okay, the rollovers, there's 3 of them in the back here, and then there's these 2 up front. And the ball, when it gets through the rollovers, it has to feed between the 2 pop bumpers and then feed here. Well, mine, this rollover in the back where the M is with that control gate, that would cause the ball to stop, and the ball did not want to roll over that switch. And so with just a little bit of, you know, bending and whatnot, I was able to get the switch to be pliable for the ball to roll over and score it really easy. Beforehand, I was having to shake the game, and it's annoying when you have gameplay stop because of a switch being too high. But, I mean, seriously, not a big deal. This is a boutique game to begin with, and there's hardly, I mean, how many people actually build these? Those are like 4 people that are working right now for them, or I'm not really sure the total number, but there's a lot to be done on a game that's this nice by such few people. So it's not unexpected to have a few things out of alignment or missed. You know, one of the things I had was the sling was overly too sensitive. You know, if it wanted to do rapid fire shot, you know, machine gunning, and of course, again, super easy to fix. The White Russian toy is amazing. Just in case you wanted to know, this is a jelly, you know, like silicone material, so it feels squinchy. I don't think squinchy is a real word, but we'll use it anyway, squinchy. So it's pretty cool. I mean, that's really a neat deal. The rug is way neater than I thought it was gonna be. If you wanna know, this is slightly textured. It's not just a normal decal. This is slick, of course, but the texture, that's just a really nice touch. And again, only if you're getting inside your game are you can even notice it. I did add the art blades. Dramatically, increases the overall aesthetic, I believe, of the game. Will I add any mods? I don't know. Maybe get the doobie mod I've seen to put back here on the apron to kind of go along with the flow with the dude who, you know, wonders if we'd mind if he did a J. But hopefully, you know, this little random around the play field is interesting to you guys. I know I would have loved to have seen a video, even though it's a mess and a lot of shaking around. I would have loved to have been able to see one like this, just to get an idea of really what the layout looks like instead of just being flat and in 2D. So from here, I'm just gonna go ahead and show some other detail of the game from the outside, just so you can kind of see quality-wise the details. This is kind of a rough finish here, but it is fully stained. And then of course the decal is put on perfectly. The gratuitous armpit shot. The decal package is rather low res, but super high gloss, and it gives it a, how shall I say, a better vintage feel to it. Like, I mean, this game feels like I should have been playing this alongside Medieval Madness, Attack from Mars, The Shadow. And then of course, let's go down here to the rug. Everybody wants to know about it. Oh, there's my lockdown bar. And no, that yellow is not a mistake of the camera angle. That is the intentional pea stain in the middle of the rug. And then we have the bowling motif along with coffee cans, Dutch pinball, Viking helmet, you know, the White Russian, the doobie stuff, the Market Zero pistol, the Beetle, you know, everything about this is so well done and it's just great. Ironically enough, I do have another rug in here which is based on the Mandalorian theme, which anybody wants to pick out and figure out all the pieces to that. But getting back to what you're all actually here for. Another last little tidbit, this is interesting. This key is one of these older, well, I say older, they still use them, like a vending machine style. I don't even know what you call these keys. Somebody will know exactly what it is. Your coin mech. I guess it's technically no coin mechs in it. That's just places where coin mechs could be put in. No coin box. But the bowling playfield fills up the bottom section here to make it really difficult to see. And the other interesting thing is there is not a shaker motor with the game. However, it looks like they used the sound of the subwoofer to emulate a shaker motor, which is actually brilliant. So anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'm terrible at answering comments because, you know, I've got a life doing other stuff. I'm just here to kind of show what people might be interested in. All right, well, I guess that does it. I'm gonna put the glass back on and play me a game or two. Take care.